lately, but I'm feeling light. Sun on my face, wind in my hair, color so bright. Tryna smile instead of quick to battle on sight. Loving it now, choosing what's really worth the fight. Lust for the clouds, mountains, and the rain. Understanding through my dreams that there's a path to heal pain. Getting lit to stay lit, it just don't hit the same. Got so sick and tired of playing the game, yeah. Can't let it keep me down, no. Can't let it keep me down, no. Gotta stay in the now. Something about my style. Can't let it keep me down, no. Can't let it keep me down, no. Gotta stay in the now. Yeah. Finally finding peace. Shatter illusions, movement sets me free. Finally I can breathe. Surrender myself and now light tastes so sweet. Yeah. Hoping I keep moving in the right direction. Gotta take the yin with the yang, it's all a testing. Open to the notion that everything is a lesson, and that we're always being sent another message. Traveling all terrain to gain perspective. Switch the view that said it's true that I'm defective. Been to hell and back, but I continue to stay reflective and give the wisdom all right back to the collective. Let's go. Can't let it keep me down. Can't let it keep me down. Gotta stay in the now. Something about my style. Can't let it keep me down. Can't let it keep me down. Gotta stay in the now. Gotta stay in the now. Finally finding me. Third eye opening up so I can see. Finally I can breathe. Loving myself and giving myself everything I need. Had some rough nights lately, but I'm feeling light. Sun on my face, wind in my hair, color so bright. Tryna smile instead of quick to battle on sight. Loving it now, choosing what's really worth the fight. Lust for the clouds, mountains, and the rain. Understanding through my dreams that there's a path to heal pain. Getting lit to stay lit, it just don't hit the same. Got so sick and tired of playing the game, yeah. Can't let it keep me down, no. Can't let it keep me down, no. Gotta stay in the now. Something about my style. Can't let it keep me down, no. Can't let it keep me down, no. Gotta stay in the now. Yeah. Finally finding peace. Shatter illusions, movement sets me free. Finally I can breathe. Surrender myself and now light tastes so sweet. Yeah. Hoping I keep moving in the right direction. Gotta take the yin with the yang, it's all a testing. Open to the notion that everything is a lesson, and that we're always being sent another message. Traveling all terrain to gain perspective. Switch the view that said it's true that I'm defective. Been to hell and back, but I continue to stay reflective and give the wisdom all right back to the collective. Let's go. Can't let it keep me down. Can't let it keep me down. Gotta stay in the now. Something about my style. Can't let it keep me down. Can't let it keep me down. Gotta stay in the now. Gotta stay in the now.
Hello, warriors. Hello, community. I am Coach Ruth, and welcome to I Am Ruth Ward. I'm so glad that you ladies are on here tonight. I know it is a cool Sunday evening, and so many of you, maybe you've had a long weekend and you're getting ready for the busy work week and all the stuff that's going to be going on this week with the election. I'll be talking about that tonight, but I just want to welcome everybody. And y'all know that we are warriors here because y'all know when we fight, we win. And that is the Harris campaign slogan. And I keep telling y'all, I had that before she got it. So I think that somebody from her campaign was listening in and watching, you know, I'm going to say my 15 to life, my I Am Ruth Ward. And so then they was like, you know, we think we like that. So they took it from me and ran with it. And of course, you know, they got millions and millions of people. So they got it. Yeah. But anyway, so it's so good to see you all. Hello, Deaconess Easley. Excuse me. Hello, Phyllis. Bella, how are you? I just want to let you know, Bella, I may be needing you in January or maybe in December for maybe Sights and Sounds or New Year's Eve or something like that. So just be thinking, don't run away from me when you see me, right? And let me see. Hello. Uh-oh. Can you guys hear me? Uh-oh. I don't see my... Hold on. Yeah, y'all can hear me. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, you can hear me because you did answer. All right. And yeah, hello, Mary, my mother-in-law. And okay, Cheryl, how are you all doing? Listen, I will not be on here long because again, I feel like it's one of those evenings where, you know, where we're kind of like bears, where, you know, the bears start hunkering down when it gets cold and you know, they fatten up for the winter and they eat all the food, eat and fatten up so they can hibernate for the winter. I think that's kind of where I feel like we're getting down to, where you just want to hunker down. You want to put on some warm clothes and some fuzzy socks and get under a blanket and watch TV, maybe watch a rom-com or something like that and just chill out, maybe get you a cup of hot chocolate or some, hot chocolate or not tea, but something like that where you can just kind of sit and just like, oh, you know, maybe get in front of a heater and just chill out, right? So that's kind of where I feel like a lot of people are. Hello, Monica, how are you? And you look so pretty today. I did love that jacket that you had on. It was so pretty. I like that. I like that a lot. Hey, Audrey, how are you? How are you all? Listen, I'm going to get right on it, ladies, because y'all know that what is Tuesday? What is Tuesday? Tuesday is Election Day. And that is, and what I always like to say, I was telling someone when we say like we vote on the 5th, Tuesday the 5th, that I really feel like saying that Tuesday is actually the last day to vote. So if you have not already voted with what they say early voting, I just feel like you're just voting and that Tuesday is just the last day that you can vote, right? So I just wanted to talk about whether or not you should vote. And if you should, why should you? There's been so much talk, and I have been really reluctant on whether or not to say anything because there's just so much going on that is surrounding this election, so much negativity, so much and I mean both sides, so much disinformation that's out there, and it is crazy. And if you're really not aware, that you can really get caught up and go down in, you know, rabbit hole of some conspiracy theorist things. I tell you, last week, Matt and I, my son, we were in Walmart and we were getting some things, and I just happened to run into a lady that I used to work with when I worked for St. Jude, or ALSAC, which is the fundraising arm of St. Jude. I was a human resources supervisor there. And so I ran into her in Walmart, you know, we're just talking, and she was talking about some of the things that she was doing and blah, blah, blah. So then she goes like, wait, that's right. She was like, you're a Christian, right? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh my God, like there's this lady that I've been following. And she said her name. And she was like, oh, you should listen to her because, she's so good. And, she's going all this talking. And then she's like, yeah. And so she's giving all these different prophecies and she started talking and she was like, yeah, because, like the whole election was like fake and it wasn't Joe Biden who was really was sworn in. It was somebody else, and he had a mask on like it was Joe Biden. And he's really dead, and she's just going off. And then I started looking at her like she had 3 heads. I really did, and I was like, really? Oh, okay, all right, and okay. It was like I'm gonna get ready to go, but there are so many people out there that just, they go down these rabbit holes of things. And, if you watch anything, if you watch enough of it, just like they say, you listen to a lie long enough and it becomes the truth. You start to believe it if you keep hearing it long enough. And so there's so many people that go down these conspiracy theory things. And it's really, really scary. That's probably the second person that I met. One of them it's been probably about 3 years ago. I was in Meyer and ran into someone who I never thought would have gone down that path. And I literally had to tell her, somebody's putting off fireworks or something. And so hey, Katrina. And so I really had to tell her, I was like, I called her up because she was saying some stuff. And then and I'm not even going to go into the whole conversation, but the conversation ended with me telling her, do me a favor, like just take my phone number take me out of your contacts and I'm going to block you because I'm just not going there with all of that. And, so that's kind of how it ended. And sometimes you got to do that. And so I felt led to do that with that person. And so I did. But way down the rabbit hole, way down. So again, I just wanted to talk a little bit about whether or not we should vote, because you hear, if you're watching the news on any kind of way, and I do have my great nieces that are sitting on each side of me. They said they didn't want to get on camera. And they weren't going to say anything, but I am going to give them a shout out because they are sitting here with their auntie. So I do appreciate that. But I love them so much. And so, but going back to, again, there's so much out there and you hear a lot of people that will say like, you shouldn't vote. And I can only speak for, African Americans because that's what I am, right? I can't speak for any other race. But as an African American woman, I will say this, you never hear anybody telling anyone of another race that they should not vote or to hold their vote, right? Because you're upset or whatever, or to hold their vote. So nobody ever tells anybody of another race to do that. We're the only ones that are told, don't vote or hold your vote because we haven't gotten anything. I'm not here again. Please, no, I'm not here to tell you one way or the other. I'm not trying to tell you. Yeah. Matt and I already voted. We voted, last week, I believe we voted. He and I went. And it was a wonderful experience, when we went. And there was a lot of people in line. And it was very, very busy. And I even asked the lady, I was like, is it always this busy? And she was like, today is a slow day. So obviously, they had a lot of people in there voting. And so I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. That is your prerogative. That's your choice. What I always say is I look at what both candidates are saying, and what lines up with me as an African American woman. I try not to listen to so much of the rhetoric and all that stuff surrounding, because you can get caught up in a lot of stuff. So I just really listen to what are they both, when they're speaking at their rallies, what are they saying? What are they doing? And you can get a good feel for that person. And so that's kind of some of the things that I do. But I want to talk about when we say why we should vote. And you'll hear, say, a person who's my age, like I'm 61, that will say, people died to give you the right to vote. And they did do that. But I just want to talk about one woman in particular, and some of her experiences that she went through. And that's one of the reasons why I have not missed an election in voting since I was eligible to vote. And that was when I first turned 18. And I not only vote in the presidential elections, I also vote in the local elections as well, because so many people just think I'm just going to vote for the president. But your local elections matter so much more, almost in a lot of cases, than the presidential election. And I'll talk about that in just a second. Okay, it's already 6:11. Okay, so listen. So I want to talk about this lady here. And I apologize. I didn't do a PowerPoint because I didn't decide until the last minute that I wanted to use her as an example. And so I didn't do a PowerPoint. I just pulled this up off of the internet. And this is, some of you may know, her name is Fannie Lou Hamer. And she was born in 1917. She died in 1977 when she was 59. So she was very, very young. But she was, and I'll try to say this real quickly, but she was, so I can get to my point. She was one of 20 children. She grew up on a plantation where her parents were sharecroppers. She was able to learn and go to school, but once she hit like the 6th grade, then she had to start working in the fields. And so she was doing that. Then she married. She had some miscarriages. And while she was in the hospital, they did a hysterectomy on her without her consent or without her knowledge. And that was something that they did back in that time with women in Mississippi, where it was forced sterilization that they performed on them, where they could not have children. And they said they called it the Mississippi appendectomy, that it was so many women that went in the hospital for one thing, and then they came out with a hysterectomy where they could no longer have any children. So that sort of started her on the path of like, things aren't right. Then I believe in 1962, she went to a meeting about trying to vote. And she and 17 other people went to the polls, to vote. At that time, they had to take a test and all that, and she failed naturally. And they said, but she said, I want to come back every day, because they gave her 30 days. She was like, I'm going to come back every day until you allow me. So I'll pass this test so I can vote. On the third time, she passed the test, but then they still said you can't vote because you got to pay a poll tax. So she was finally able to raise the money to vote. But I think also one of the things that really cemented her in this fight to be able to vote was in the summer of 1963, which was the summer before I was born. So that kind of tells you how recent that was. A lot of times you think, because you see black and white pictures, and you think, oh, it's been so long ago, because it's like these black and white pictures, and it's just not. It's just, that time my mom was still was living, and my mother-in-law, and what I'm saying, my aunts, and those kinds of things, that they experience all of that. And you guys, if you're on here, my mother-in-law, My mom, if you can comment, talk about some of those things what was going on during that time, because that was the time that you lived through. So at any rate, they were on a bus and they were coming back to Mississippi from an event, again, to try to register Black people to vote. And they were pulled over because the sheriff said that the bus was too yellow. So they pulled the bus over, gave them a ticket. Then they said that they didn't address somebody as sir, whatever. So she was arrested. And here's the part that was so really, they arrested her. They put her in a cell. This is a Black woman. She was probably, maybe in her 30s at that point, could have been 40s. And probably in her 40s at that point. And they arrested her, put her in a cell with two men who basically almost beat her to death. At one point, they raised up her dress with all these 5 police officers, exposed all of her body. And again, they basically almost beat her to death in prison. She was able to get out a few days after that, but it took her like a month to recover. It messed up her kidneys and it put a blood clot above her eye. And of course, there were psychological scars that never healed, all because she just wanted to exercise her right to vote. And when I think about things like that, it really makes me say, you know what? There's nothing that would ever stop me from voting. For me personally, again, I cannot speak for anyone else, but I can speak for me that nothing would ever make me sit and say, I'm not going to exercise. And she's just one story of many stories. She's the person that was famous for saying, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. Right. She died when, again, she was only 59. They said of hypertension, but she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1976. She died in 1977. Again, which wasn't that long ago. I mean, I was in high school in 1977. You know what I'm saying? So these things were not so long ago, and you can read stories today about they keep finding young men in these different counties. I think it was North Carolina recently where they were hanging from a tree. And the police officers were saying, well, they committed suicide. And you're just kind of like, I don't know about that. I don't know if you heard the story about the one young man who was I don't know if he was a UPS driver, FedEx driver, something like that. And he was delivering I think he was in one of those sundown towns, which still exist. I don't know if you are familiar with when they say sundown towns, but those are towns where it was all, Caucasian people, and it was like Black people. They could go through the town, but when sundown hit, they had to be out of the town. And so you can Google now sundown towns, and they still exist in America today. So, but he was in one of those towns, and this was just recently, and somebody hung him, right? So when you think about those things, when I think about those things that we're still experiencing as African Americans, that there's nothing in hell that would keep me from voting. It's just, it won't. So I just want to encourage you, like I said, when I think about Fannie Lou Hamer and all the things that she experienced, I can't even imagine being arrested and just being beat almost to death because you just want to exercise your right as an American citizen to vote. Women, when y'all think about women, guys, women, first of all, women weren't given the right to vote until 1920. That included white women. That did not include African American women. Of course, we weren't given the right to vote until 1965 with the Civil Rights Act. Again, that was 2 years after I was born. I was 2 years old before Black people had the right to vote. You think about that, okay? And something else for you guys to think about. Women could not even buy their own. They couldn't even have a credit card on their own without their husband's name on it until 1974. Right? I can remember when I worked at Bacon's in the Galleria, and I started in 1981-ish, 2-ish, maybe 82. And so many women, older white women, would come down and they would have a credit card, and it would be a Bacon's credit card, and it would just be in their husband's name because their name wasn't even allowed to be on it. That's what I experienced. And so what would happen is their husband had died, but then technically they couldn't use the card because it was in their husband's name and not theirs. So then they had to try to open up a credit card in their name, but it was hard for them to do it because they had no credit because everything was in their husband's name. And this was like, what, in 1982, right? Not that long ago. Women couldn't even get a car without a man's signature on it. Couldn't even get a loan without a man's signature on it. Not that long ago, guys. Not that long ago. So when I think about the things and see the things that's going on and what people are saying and what they want to take us to and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, when I hear people say we ain't going back, I ain't going back because I'm voting, right? So let me see. Women didn't have, I'm sorry, I'm looking at all your comments. Yeah, those sundown towns still exist. Absolutely. Very sad, but true. Okay, my mother-in-law says I'm a witness to that. She grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm sure she's probably got stories for days that she could probably tell you. Maybe the next time, maybe I'll bring on my mother and my mother-in-law and let them talk about some of their experiences as young women growing up in the 40s, 50s, 60s. You know, what was that experience like in the 60s? I don't know. Would y'all want to hear from them? Y'all have to let me know if you would like to hear from them regarding their experiences. So I'm way over my time, ladies, but I tell you, I was telling somebody, I said, I'll be so glad when Wednesday comes and this is all over with. I really, really will be so happy when this is over with. And so we can maybe have some semblance of normalcy in this country. And yes, get them two in here. Okay. Yeah. I think I'm gonna bring them on. Now you know Granny is I'm probably gonna have to like shut her up and be like, okay, mama, like you just talking too much. But bring on all the moms. Yeah. If you guys know of someone who had some stories that you think that we would need to hear, let me know and I can give them a link and I can bring them on virtually. And just like you're watching me, they can be on. They don't have to come here where I am at my home. They can be at their home and I can just send them the link and they just, log in and begin to tell their story. So yeah, so reach out to me and let me know because I want to know those stories, right? Because if we don't tell the stories, then they die. Because once the person is gone, they're gone. And if we don't know the stories, then the stories die with them. Okay. All right. So yes. So we do know that God is in control of everything. However it turns out, guys, we're not fretting because we know God is in control of everything. And we know he's the King of Kings. He's the Lord of Lords. So he got it all in control. So we're not going to worry about it. Okay, let me see. Katrina, my mom was the first of 3 to integrate the white high school in Lexington. Wow. Okay. If you think she'd like to come on and tell her story, let me know. Okay. Reach out to me and let me know. All right, guys. So I'm going to get off here again. If you have not already voted, make sure you vote by Tuesday. I don't know if early voting is over with. I don't know, because I know I already voted. So if you haven't, make sure you vote by Tuesday, right? Because that's the last day to vote. And think about people like Fannie Lou Hamer and what she experienced as an African-American woman, just to give you that right. Just to give you that right? Beat almost to death. And you think about the other people that actually gave their lives just to give us that right. And it's not like it was in the 1500s, it was just a few short years ago. So, yeah. So do that. When you think about your ancestors, they came over through the Middle Passage, and you think about what they experienced. Months and months and months on a ship. Can't speak the language that they hear, not being fed. Sometimes a woman, who's having a baby, and they take the baby and throw the baby over the ship, or maybe she might throw herself over the ship, because she knew what was ahead of her and she'd rather face the sharks. I even heard that they said that as the ships would come across the ocean, that sharks would follow the ship because they knew people would be thrown overboard. And so it was just easy picking for the sharks. That's what we had to experience. Okay. So I don't want to leave it on a sad note. I want to leave it on a positive note. God's got it in control. Make sure you vote, guys. Okay. Because you got that right. So you don't want to give up that right to vote. All right. I love y'all. And remember, I love you. I love you. I love you. I believe in you. I believe in your dreams. But most importantly, I believe in your action. So your action this week, if you have not already, is to make sure that you vote, right? Your action this week is to make sure that you vote. If you have not already, or if you've already voted, make sure that somebody that you love goes out and vote. Don't ask them don't tell them how to vote. Just tell them, go and vote. All right, guys. Oh, thank you, Marquita. I love you guys so much. And I will see you sometime this week. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Finally finding me. Third eye opening up so I can see. Finally I can breathe. Loving myself and giving myself everything I need. Had some rough nights lately, but I'm feeling light. Sun on my face, wind in my hair, color so bright. Tryna smile instead of quick to battle on sight. Loving and